Hello, church. I'm coming to you from our little wooden cabin here in Nature's Valley where we are resting and taking a break. Alicia just woke up from a nap, and I just really have on my heart to share with you a devotion I I did a couple of days ago, a revelation I got from the book of Hosea that I really believe will be of value to a few of you. So, gonna read for us from Hosea 7, verse 14. It says, "They do not cry out to me from the heart, but they wail upon their beds. For grain and wine they gash themselves, they rebel against me." I'm going to read it again. "They do not cry out to me from the heart, but they wail upon their beds. For grain and wine they gash themselves, they rebel against me." And so, what I just see in this is that oftentimes in our life, and as was the case here with Israel, is that you find yourself in some trouble. You have a trouble of some sort, and then Hosea writes and says, "Well, there's two ways to go about this," and Israel here chooses the wrong way. It says that you do not cry out to me from the heart. They do not cry out to the Lord from the heart, but they wail upon their beds. And oftentimes, and it's been the case in my life, when something's not going well and I don't feel well and things is not really working out, then I often just wail upon my bed. I go into an emotional place, emotional space, and I wail upon my bed rather than to cry out to the Lord from my heart. And to cry out to God from your heart, um, it's more than uttering words, it's more than saying a prayer, but it's really accessing your spirit, accessing your heart, and crying out to God from that place, and just bringing whatever the trouble is, whatever the thing is in your heart to Him. Because we see that if you go on wailing on your bed, it seems that the next step, he writes, he says, "You wail upon your beds, and then for grain and wine you will gash yourselves." So, which means now you run um, to your comfort. You run to grain, you run to wine, because there you find comfort. And often when we lie on our beds wailing, then we stand up from there. We're looking for something with which we can comfort ourselves, and that's the second way in which we go wrong. And that little spiral, almost want to say, wailing on your bed and looking for something to satisfy your soul, then the wine and the grain, that leads to rebelling against God, because it's in that place of wailing and seeking to somehow comfort yourself that the lies of the enemy comes to you and say, "Oh, God has forsaken you. He's not helping you." Um, and this has been going on for so long, and where is he, and all that stuff. And it leads to us eventually at the end, when the evil one has its way, that we rebel against God. So, short little meditation is, let's make sure that when we have a trouble, that we don't wail on our beds, but that we cry out to God from the heart. And that crying out is not a shallow crying, but a real crying, like the one we read in Jeremiah 29, where it says, if you seek me with all your heart, then you'll find me. And then it also says later on in Jeremiah 29, then God will restore your fortunes. So there's a wonderful promise at the end of a crying out from the heart, that God comes and He restores your fortunes. Whereas the wailing on your bed and looking to comfort yourself eventually leads to us rebelling from God, and just leads us into more troubles going forward. So I want to invite you to take your troubles to Him, and just cry out with a pure heart. Just bring your heart before Him and cry out to God, and He is the one that will restore your fortunes. And don't run to those comforts and things that you use to soothe your own soul, but first run to Him and make sure that your heart connects with Him, and He will restore your fortunes. Bless you. Bye.